James DeWitt Yancey, better known by his stage name Jay Dilla, was a hip-hop producer that emerged from Detroit in the mid-1990s. Although he was more than just a hip-hop producer, covering the grounds of rapping with his group Slum Village, drumming, and songwriting, Dilla's legacy lives on and is remembered by being the person to humanize the MPC. When one talks about Dilla's ability to humanize the MPC, they are talking about his intentional act of bringing out error in a beat, and perfecting it to the level of a human, so much so that what he did with the machine informed real drummers how they play their instrument. When most producers were aligning every kick and every snare to a musical grid, Dilla was shifting these elements off the grid so that there was a sense of mistake written all over the rhythmic elements of the track. Where Dilla could have made his beats perfect in the sense of time, he purposefully and methodically made it imperfect. Why? And more importantly, why do we connect with it so much? To explore Dilla's discography and note these imperfections that are present throughout his work, one learns the gravity that human error holds in the creation and beauty of authentic art. When a singer croons their tune with an unstable, cracked voice, why do we feel emotion? When we buy a digital camera or take a Polaroid picture, why is that of more value to us than what we can take a better quality on our iPhones? When we hear a Jay Dilla beat where the snare is hitting obnoxiously ahead of where it should land, why do we bop our heads? Every example that I just mentioned shares a common trait. The emotive voice, the bleached out photos, the rushed snare, they are all unhinged. What this means is that every one of these art forms contains an aspect that is built on unfiltered ideas by an artist that feels no need to hold themselves back from emoting. This aspect of art is what makes the work memorable and easy to identify with for the audience. Art that is unfiltered, unhinged, and sometimes straight up unconventional is the art that is the most truthful and the most human. It connects with us because it speaks a language that we all understand. It speaks the truth. A great example of an unhinged artist, one that resists having an agenda and just creates, is the visual artist and painter, Black Brooklynite Jean-Michel Basquiat. Basquiat worked as an expressionist and human first, while the art came second. He never attended art school, but instead learned from frequenting New York galleries. He learned from the music played by his father. He learned from a copy of Grey's Anatomy gifted to him by his mother after young Basquiat was hit by a car, which would later manifest in the skulls and guts in his later work, exploring both the power and vulnerability of marginalized bodies. When Jean-Michel spoke about his work, he said, "I don't think about art when I'm working. I try to think about life." It's not a surprise why Basquiat's work is so commercially successful. It speaks that language that we all speak. It brings truth to the work without trying to be truthful and without trying to be work. It just is. When Basquiat couldn't afford canvases, he painted on wood he found on the street. A new medium for art born out of human instinct, truthful and unfiltered human impulse, one which we all have and relate to. In art, the audience is seeking out an authentic conversation to latch onto. It makes them feel a part of it. With Dilla's art form, there was always a barrier holding that conversation back from being authentic. The barrier was the grid. While Dilla was able to sample sources that felt truthful and respected the beat that it was always being played on, the rhythmic aspect of the track always felt forced. Dilla was being persuaded to fit a precedent that was already in place from the history of rhythm and beat making. Everything had to be either straight or swung. Dilla broke out of this precedent. In doing so, Dilla was able to create a more authentic conversation between him and his audience. In a 2017 essay published in Granta magazine entitled Clown School, author Noir Al-Sadir explains this idea perfectly through the metaphor of a comedian. With the essay being much about Al-Sadir's adventurous experiences in clown school and the exercises within its ability to help her reach her unconscious, non-conformed self, Al-Sadir takes the time at the beginning of the essay to talk about why she went to clown school, citing how her studies as a psychoanalyst and a fan of comedy led her to notice what exactly made audiences laugh at a comedy show. She noticed that audience members laughed less because a performer was funny than because they were honest. In another art form that isn't beat-making, stand-up comedy, we see the unhinged, the error in a human being brought out so that it actually bolsters the authenticity of the art. Watch this clip of comedian Richard Pryor as he is able to make the audience laugh by acknowledging the difference between himself and the audience. playing on classic stereotypes and bringing to light matters of the subconscious that allowed the audience to react.
I don't care what nobody tell your ass, boy. I was walking in the yard and some say, "Don't breathe no more." I said, huh? I said, "Don't breathe no motherfucking more." You heard me. Okay, I won't breathe, I won't breathe, I won't breathe. And I tried to ease a little air inside of my mouth. And I said, "Say, motherfucker, did I tell you not to breathe?" You told me not to breathe, you told me not to breathe. Well, where you going? Why you walking? Stand still, motherfucker. Okay, I'll stand still. Get your ass down. Okay, I'm down, I'm down, I'm down. Don't hurt me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. Shut the fuck up. You thinking about dying now? Yeah. Why didn't you think about that when you was eating that pork, motherfucker? I was thinking about that.
Unlike other comedians, there are no cookie-cutter punchlines in this bit about Pryor having a heart attack, just an ongoing dialogue about what it was like to go through that experience as a black male in America. Sure, the delivery is hilarious, but on paper, this content is just the truth. And while this may be considered imperfect humor in the field of comedy writing, its humanity and the error that comes with being human allows the audience to feel something that they can react to. British producer Brian Eno once said, "Whatever you now find weird, ugly, uncomfortable, and nasty about a new medium will surely become its signature." We saw it with Dilla's influence soon after his beats started to become commercially successful. Before J.D. even passed away, musicians like D'Angelo, Questlove, and Robert Glasper were searching for the same kind of conflict within their music and their jams. It was a contagious rush, a new style that brought emotion back to playing music that was unmatched to any other groove that could be played. J. Dilla captured empathy throughout his work by intentionally making it imperfect. He painted his beats with error in order to touch the aspects of the human condition that we can all relate to.